Now I'm curious to hear why you disagree with the foot dragging.
Okay. Now, obviously, right? I'm not the only person that feels this way. All right. I'm obviously not the only person that feels this way. I have an article that was issued by Time Magazine, and it says putting Harriet Tubman on the 20 by excuse me. And it says putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill is not a sign of progress. It's a sign of disrespect. All right. So somebody obviously feels how I feel, right? What we're going to see, what we're going to try to discover is if we have the same reason behind it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm pretty sure we don't, because this article was written by Brittney Cooper, right? Now it says Brittney Cooper is a professor at Rutgers University and the author of Eloquent Rage, a black feminist discovers her superpower. All right, so she's a black feminist. And matter of fact, I have a picture of her from her book, so everybody can see who Miss Brittney Cooper is, right? And I can assure you that we do not agree on much. All right. But obviously she finds it disrespectful, just like I do. Now, Brittney Cooper, this is her. She's a black feminist. So she wrote this article. Get a good look at her, fellas. All right. Here we go. We're going to read this article. Also, before we read it, let's take a look. That's the $20 bill. I mean, it's not a bad looking bill, you know. But we're gonna get into this article. We're gonna unpack this. But it's not a bad looking bill, at least. All right. It says the Biden administration announces plan to return to an Obama era initiative to put Harriet Tubman's face on the US $20 bill. Kind of make you wonder who's really running the White House. Is it Obama running it in the shadows? But anywho, her image would replace Andrew Jackson, the notoriously racist president known both for owning hundreds of slaves and for his brutal and genocidal policy of Indian removal. Based on current designs, a statue of Jackson would remain on the back of the bill, while Harriet Tubman would grace the front. Many Americans across the racial spectrum are excited about this tribute to Tubman. They view it as progress, as a necessary and long overdue disruption of the American founding fathers' narrative. I do not. Now, later, we're going to go back and we're going to touch this whole thing about American founding fathers, all right? We're going to come back to that statement right there. Now, Miss Cooper goes on and she says, I know in a country that worships at the altar of capitalism, an economic system made possible by the free black labor procured through the transatlantic slave trade, a black woman's face on our currency seems like the highest honor we could bestow. Now, I don't agree with that statement. To me, that's not the highest honor that we can bestow to a black woman. It's just not. But let's keep going. It says, but what a stunning failure of imagination. Putting Tubman on legal tender when slaves in the U.S. were treated as fungible commodities is a supreme form of disrespect. The imagery of her face changing hands as people exchange cash for goods and services evokes, for me, discomforting scenes of enslaved persons being handed over as payment for white debt or anything white slaveholders wanted. America certainly owes a debt to black people, but this is not the way to repay it. Now, I can agree with that last statement, right? This wouldn't be the way to repay the debt that America owes to us.
That's right.
But let's keep going. Oh, here we go. Kamala Harris, Vice President. It says, on the heels of Kamala Harris' historic ascension to the vice presidency, questions about the politics of representation figure heavily in on our political discussions and calculations. I believe that representation matters, that it matters for a woman with liberal values to be president someday, that Black people and people of color should be in positions of leadership and decision making in our government. Now, I'm just going to address that. I don't do identity politics. I want the best person for the job. See, where we grew up at, Rodney, all we had for the most part in my lifetime were Black politicians. And guess what? A lot of them were criminals. A lot of them did stuff that they weren't supposed to do.
If they weren't criminals, they didn't hold their office
in high esteem. Yeah,
with the intent to help those who look like them from the communities.
Exactly.
You know, it's in PG County is one of the richest counties. They say the richest Black county in the country, and I could make the claim that PG County, those Black folks are could be considered, based on the policies of Maryland as a whole, as they're not really benefits to the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to really get into it and really go in on how I feel about them.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? But just based on they're rich, but the policies for their rights based on Maryland is not equal footing. I mean, right. Maryland. I mean, it's horrible if you look at the laws, and I mean, it's crazy.
That, you know why, in my opinion, because it's a bunch of Democrats running it. But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day, man.
Yeah.
Now it goes on, and she says, but all forms of representation are not equal, and the desire to put a Black woman's face on our currency represents a narrative of diversity and inclusion that is deeply ahistorical. It is the ignominious, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, relationship of Black bodies to capital and currency that is the cause today of our most violent battles in this country. Consider that just weeks ago, an angry insurrectionist white mob stormed the U.S. Capitol carrying, among other things, the Confederate flag. American lore suggests that the Confederate flag had never previously entered the U.S. Capitol, even during the Civil War. I say lore because we all know that even if the symbol of the Confederacy had never been in the Capitol, Confederate ideas have found a hearty welcome there, both in the past and in the present. Since this history has violently reinserted itself, demanding our attention, and if we are wise, our reckoning with a racist past that is never quite past, then we should note that Black people's faces have, in fact, been on our national currency before. Now, she goes on and she says, during the Confederacy, as each secessionist state printed its own money, images of enslaved people picking cotton and doing other forms of menial labor appeared on the currency in several states. Now, she is 100% correct, and I want to show everyone what she's referring to. Right here, you can see Confederate dollars. Example, this one right here. That's a Confederate dollar. You can see the Black people right here doing some type of plantation work. So that's what she's referring to. That's the historical context that she's referring to. So let's keep going. There you go, Harriet Tubman. That's one of her famous photos. I remember seeing this one as a child growing up.
Yeah.
It's a common photo. And I have much love for Harriet Tubman. Yes, I do. I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying.
She's one of my heroes.
Yeah.
Because as I'm a man, I don't know how many times I'd have went back down that joint. I ain't gonna fake. Many people ain't gonna admit that joint. She's a soldier, but I ain't beyond soldier.
Agreed.
The great ancestors, peace be upon her.
Agreed.
To her.
I definitely agree. But I'm gonna give my reason later why I'm saying what I'm saying. you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna clarify it. Now, Brittney Cooper goes on. She says the default position in America is that black bodies are only useful insofar as they turn a profit. We fought a bloody war over this issue, and then the country turned around and built a prison system based on exactly the same premise. Hence, calls to abolish prison, which depend in most cases on a massive amount of free black labor to turn a profit. Now, I totally disagree with her when she talks about abolish prisons. I think that is insanely unintelligent. Why am I saying this? Because some people, right? Black people, white people, Asian, Hispanic, etc., all people, purple people, green people, right? If they go out here and they commit murders, robberies, right? Rapes.
If they simply damage people, do harm to people or damage property.
Yes.
To an extent of beyond repair, like an arson.
Yes.
Damage property to an arson, burn something down.
They deserve to be in prison no matter their race.
Yeah.
If they commit
fraud.
A malam and say, you know what I'm saying, Rodney? A crime that's evil in itself. Yeah. They deserve to be in prison.
Yeah, they need to be punished.
Yeah. So she goes on.
They need to be rehabilitated.
True, if they can be. You know.
That's
yeah.
Right.
So she goes on. She says Harriet Tubman's life was about fighting against the system that treated black lives and black bodies as property, currency, and capital. She was a great emancipator, freeing herself and hundreds of others in helping to bring the Union forces to victory, working as a spy in South Carolina during the Civil War. Would she consider it an honor to have her likeness plastered on American currency? And if she agreed to the honor, what would she ask for it in return? Now, those are great questions. You know, I guess we'll never know, but let's see what else Ms. Cooper had to say. She said, nothing short, I am sure, of broad structural change together with specific and targeted systemic interventions to aid black women and black communities. Now, I'm gonna stop right there. I mean, it's obvious she's a feminist, you know what I mean? Because what I find with these black female feminists, they love to always say things like black women and black communities. Like, what does that mean? Why don't you say black people in black communities? To me, that seems like the proper way to say it, right? But again, she's a feminist, right? So, I mean, you know, I guess she wouldn't mention men, right? See, black people include men, women, and children, you know, and black communities. But anywho, let's keep going. A 2015 report placed single black women's median net wealth at $200. It placed black men's median wealth at $300. Nearly a quarter of black women live in poverty. And we know that black women are disproportionately represented as essential workers. Our Latina sisters often far worse. All right.
Yeah, that's a true statement. Maybe like I understand what feminist intent is because they're trying to, I guess, support women because of the mass disparity and disrespect men have shown women over the course of history.
Well, I mean, because y'all right now, I was going to say, I understand the spirit of feminism when they say that it's a woman's choice. See, I agree with that. I agree if a woman do not want to be a housewife, she shouldn't be. I agree if a woman want to sit there and let's say she wants to be a plumber, then she should be. I agree with that. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, you get no kickback from that. Where I'm getting at is this. What I find is that the modern feminists, the feminists of today, tend to not want equality or just a choice. They tend to want to demonize men. This is what they tend to do.
Well, they're just confused. Those who take that approach, you know, they can be classified as just confused,
right?
And some things you can go a bridge too far. So you can be an extremist, just like whatever cause you champion. You could be an extremist for that cause, and that could render you unfair to others. So,
right.
So although you're trying to champion a cause, you have to do it in the light and the spirit of respect and not beat anyone down, because beating a person down is not going to help the black community as a whole.
I agree.
So all women, black, you know what I'm saying, they need to understand white doesn't make a difference.
I agree.
Blue, pink, or purple, no matter what color you are, they need to champion their causes with the respect of not putting down those who they consider put them in that position in the beginning. You know, so just keep it moving. In other words, and still champion your cause, but not to the point where you become an extremist.
Right.
You know,
I agree.
Because there, not only will you miss, people will pretty much miss your point.
I agree. Because I'll be honest, man, and that's why I pointed it out. See, I'm looking at the words. You know what I'm saying, right? Because we can read black women in black communities. I'm like, so what about the men and the children? What about the men and the children? See, to me, it makes sense to say black people in black communities.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't, I don't want to digress. I don't want to get too caught up on that.
Yeah.
All right. So Brittney Cooper goes on and she says, if Tubman is going to be linked to conversations on capital, that conversation must be about a redistribution and funneling of resources and money into black communities to deal with the wealth and wage disparities, access to education and safe housing, and a comprehensive plan of action to redress the social detriments of poor black health. Now, some of this stuff she's saying, like poor black health, is something black people can control. Now, let me go back to her photo. Let's go back to that. She can control that. Brittney Cooper, you can control that. So when I hear them say certain things, I'm like, come on, man. See, to me, some of it, you're playing the victim card. But this is my opinion. I'm just injecting my opinion in this. But let's keep going. Anything else is downright disrespectful. Perhaps we need the Harriet Tubman Reparations Act or the Harriet Tubman Abolition of Prisons Act. What we don't need is Harriet Tubman on 20s, right? So, okay, I can kind of understand if you want to go down the route of Harriet Tubman Reparations Act. I can get that. Although us black people already had reparations, we're going to do a broadcast on that in the upcoming future. We're going to prove to you what we're saying. Right. But as far as like the Harriet Tubman, Abolition of Prisons Act, I can't agree with that. We need prisons for bad people. It don't matter what race. We need prisons for bad people.
Yeah, it just needs to be fair. I don't know if she's talking about the fairness of it.
But Rodney,
yeah,
you done ran across some animals in your day like I have, man. It's some black people, right? You done ran across the
yeah, I agree. I agree. People have to be more than just in time out.
Yeah.
So, but I'm talking about the overpopulating of the prisons. You know what I'm saying? The unfairness in the rulings and in justice in general.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. So
I can agree to that.
Yeah. The abolition of prisons is ludicrous, but the abolition of unfair justice should be what they should be more speaking to.
It's substance and merit to that. I agree with that.
It should be fair.
Yeah.
Even in capitalism was fair. You wouldn't need reparations.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You don't need reparations if we had the same access to financial opportunities as others.
Right. And that's the whole purpose of equality for all is really is opportunity. That's real though, right?
Yeah,
that's
but it's not fair. So we all know that it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And January 6th showed even more because I think if it had been the same amount of all black folks there, as we all know, there'd still be water hosing the blood off the streets today. You know, that's how much blood would have been on the streets.
Hey, Rodney, we agree on both stuff. I got to give you pushback on that.
Yeah, I don't know. That joint. If they went up in that joint, they'd have slaughtered their ass. I
don't know. Cause I'm like this, man. I've been watching all the BLM protests, man. I've been watching a whole lot of black people out there destroying police stations, police cars, all type of stuff. They ain't getting shot down.
They ain't coming up in the Capitol with guns. I'm guaranteeing that joint. I'm guaranteeing. They just letting them go rowdy now. Just to let them go. It's all a bigger picture. We ain't really trying to get into all that.
True.
But I ain't got them going up inside the Capitol like that, and the Congress running. Come on, man. They ain't doing that joint. You can go to your own community. They don't care about no Nike tennis shoes. They don't care about Landover Mall. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about Iverson Mall. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about all that. Go up there on Congress, where them white folks have been over centuries ruling to keep you in 200th place, not second place, 200th place.
Let me say this, right? Let me say this. I hope BLM, all of those extreme groups, right, on the left, all of them, right? I hope we test this theory out. I hope they go down there, right? Protest down there at the Capitol, and let's test this theory and let's see what happens.
Go down there with guns. So we know. Same thing they had with the AR. I mean, go down there with the AR-15s, all shit that they had.
Please, I would love to see this.
Go down that joint with the Malcolm X flags. Go down that joint with the flags, the guns, and all that joint.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to see it, you know, because I'm afraid of what happened based on history. You know, it wouldn't be a guess. It'd be based on what happened in the past. So you know, but black folk ain't gonna do that anyway. So they already know they ain't going down that joint.
Yeah, they not.
They ain't going down that. If they was going down that joint, they'd already been down there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't going down that joint.
They not. They rather shoot each other. They rather terrorize their own people. They ain't going down there. You know?
But both sides had, even on January 6th, that both sides have professionals within.
That's true.
Yeah, they got a lot of professionals on both sides. So what the professionals are trying to do is yet to be seen. But
that's true. All right, let's finish this. So Brittney Cooper goes on and she says, so many of the freedoms we all enjoy today are a direct result of Tubman's heroic efforts. I agree to that. But American money and our national romance with it is the root of so many of our national evils. Too often, America attempts to atone for racism through style and symbol rather than substance. And I definitely agree with that. Now, I'm surprised to hear somebody on the left saying that. You know, again, you know, to me, style and symbolism is Kamala Harris, right? I don't see where she presented any substance or brought any substance to the table. But again, the black community ran behind it because to them, a black woman was becoming the vice president.
Well, and to add on top of that joint is the people are miseducated because all the stuff that Biden is attempting to Biden through executive order with people of color in mind, black folk in mind, it's a misdirection play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a misdirection play based on the ignorance of the people as they are right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The fact that they don't know really what's going on, just like when you broke down democracy, most people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Because the system of education won't allow them to know that. Same thing with this.
That's real.
They don't understand, you know, the little symbolism and style that Pamela's giving them. That's what they knew all through growing up in school. So
that's all it is.
They think that's substance. That's what I'm pointing to.
Yeah, I got you.
They believe that the style and system is substance based on what they learned from K through 12.
Because they do. Because again, you know, I even got an argument with one of my cousins. To me, that seemed to be fascinated that the Democratic Party has so many people of color interns. He's like, you know, you see all type of, you know, races of people and women and et cetera, and it don't matter what their sexuality is. But when you look at the right, you know, when you look at the GOP, he's like, you know, most of them are white and you might have like 2 black people. And I'm like, dude, I don't get moved off of that. I say, man, I've been around black politicians my whole life, man. I care about substance, man. I don't care about the symbolism of somebody that look like me just being there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can go. That's a whole nother topic because we know what these politicians know. You know what I'm saying? So if we know what they know because we know they know and understand the law for the most part. Although the limited knowledge what they learned in law school is not to the extent of what we learned because what we learned is still in the Library of Congress, it's still on the books, but it's not what's taught in school.
I agree.
So some of those politicians don't know, but we're gonna hold them that they should know. Is what you know or should know. So they should know what we know.
That's real. That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
They should.
You know that, and I hold them accountable.
Because they professionals and they're skilled. You know what I'm saying? They should know.
And they're schooled in law. So therefore, and they schooled in history.
Yep. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
There's no excuse.
It applies to them just like they apply to us.
Yeah.
You know. But let's finish this out too, Rodney, because she ends this with saying that we do not need America to put black women on this money. Again, I don't know why she just don't say black people, but again, she's a feminist. We do know why, you know what I mean? But to me, it just makes more sense to say black people on this money. Then she says we need America to put its money on black women, right? Why not say we need America to put its money on black people? But again, obviously she don't stand for black people. She just stands for black women. I mean, she is a feminist. So anywho, I'm ready to move on past this article.